Hello, I'm Michael Thimons, your door-to-door storyteller, and I'd like to give you a story. This story is called Be a Man by James G. Bruen Jr. Joe Jakes circled slowly to his left, his eyes fixed on Jimmy Brennan. The younger boy made a tighter circle, moving to his right with his fists raised, tracking Jake's every move. 1 year older and 10 pounds heavier, Jake's reach was longer than Brennan's. His punches were like lunges. Several missed entirely. A couple struck Brennan's shoulders. Others were warded off by Brennan, who threw a few punches himself. The offense that had triggered the fight was inconsequential in and of itself, but serious within the rules of the touch football game they had been playing. Brennan had accused Jakes of not counting to 3 before rushing the passer. Jakes disputed vehemently.
"Oh, yeah?"
snarled Brennan.
"Yeah?"
snapped Jakes.
"You calling me a liar? You gonna do something about it?"
Jakes threw himself at Brennan as if to tackle him, but instead fell on his face as Brennan dodged the attack. Regaining his feet, Jakes began his circling movement, and the fist fight had begun. The other boys who had been playing ball with them gathered to watch the fisticuffs from a small incline beside Brennan's home that had served as the football field. Occasionally, one of them shouted encouragement to one combatant or the other, but for the most part, they watched silently. The low-lying autumn sun filtering through the trees almost blinded Brennan each time he turned to meet its rays. On his third or fourth rotation, he was suddenly aware of the crisp, cool air and the smell of fallen leaves. To him, time and Jake's movements seemed to slow. Brennan dropped his left shoulder and feinted a punch from the right toward Jake's head. Jakes dropped both arms. Brennan regretted that he had only feinted and wondered if Jakes would repeat that mistake if he actually threw the punch. Several seconds later, Brennan again lowered his left shoulder. As Jakes again dropped both arms, Brennan threw a hard right that struck Jake's nose and left eye. To Brennan, everything happened in slow motion. Jakes crumpled and began to cry. As Jakes got up, bawling, and ran towards his home, Brennan went and sat on the incline near the other boys. Several congratulated him by patting him on the back, but he pushed them away. The boys quickly resumed the football game, but Brennan remained alone on the incline, telling them that the sides would be unfair if he continued playing while Jakes was no longer on the other team. His right hand ached. Several times he made a fist and relaxed it, but the pain didn't go away. He watched the fading sunlight playing on the clouds and saw an early star. As the sky darkened and the air turned colder, Jakes reappeared, still in tears, trudging behind his father. The man stopped at the top of the incline and shoved Jakes down it. Then he motioned Brennan towards his son.
"Finish the fight,"
he commanded them.
"Don't lose,"
he instructed Jakes. He folded his arms across his chest and stared down at his son.
"Be a man."
Jakes lunged to tackle Brennan, who didn't evade him or put up much of a struggle. Within seconds, Jakes had Brennan flat on his back, with his knees on Brennan's shoulders.
"Say uncle,"
he demanded. Brennan said,
"Uncle!"
It happened so quickly that the other boys didn't even have the chance to interrupt their game to watch.
"Don't ever let anyone beat you, boy,"
the man grunted at his son. Then the man stomped off, returning to his house. Jakes and Brennan untangled their limbs and moved to the incline, where they sat together silently, watching the other boys play football.
"I'm sorry, Jimmy,"
said Jakes after a minute or so.
"It wasn't fair."
"I know," replied Brennan.
"It's okay." "He made me do it, Jimmy. He'd have beat me if I didn't."
"I know, Joe. It's okay."
"You won fair and square, Jimmy. He shouldn't have made me do it." It's okay. Still friends?
Asked Jakes, holding out his hand.
You bet.
Replied Brennan, clasping the hand.
It's not dark yet.
Said Jakes.
Want to get back in the game? Only if you promise to count to 3.
Grinned Brennan. You just listened to Be a Man by James G. Bruen Jr. Read to you by your door-to-door storyteller, Michael Thimons. Thank you for listening.
Used by We Are One Body Audio Theater, with the permission of the licensor, granted under a copyrighted license agreement. First published in Gilbert Magazine, a publication of the American Chesterton Society. A production of We Are One Body Audio Theater.